I'm Elliot Peters, and this is What Was That About? A show that tries to get to the point of every movie. We're officially halfway through the year, so it's time to look at the new releases of 2026, what's come out so far, and which upcoming releases we have to look forward to next. All that and more after this quick intro. Hi everybody, welcome back to the show. Sorry about no episode last week, a lot's been going on, I've done a lot of traveling recently, but that's not the most exciting thing that's going on because today I have a very special guest with me, Ruby. The reason why I felt like it was important to have Ruby on today is pretty much every single movie that I see, you see with me. How often do we go to the movies, Ruby?
I think the main metric of how often we go to the movies is measured by how much it costs to buy a monthly pass, and we have to make sure that we go to enough movies that that's worth it, and we basically always do.
Yeah, it's about breaking even on the Regal Unlimited subscription, and that's like the only chain around us. Is that your favorite theater chain, though?
I grew up on Cinemark. So it's hard to but also at the same time, my family didn't go to the movies that often. We went to movies more after they got recliners in theaters.
Yeah, well, and the great thing about Cinemark is that they bring your snacks to you while you're sitting there. And
you're spoiled.
Yeah, it's luxury.
Yeah.
So on average, we're going to close to 4 movies every month. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the different movies that we've seen so far, who we think stands out in terms of movie stars, what themes are cropping up over and over again, and what audiences seem to be really responding to. And then from there, we're going to talk about the upcoming movies.
Whoa!
Do you think we can do it?
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to get sidetracked?
No, I'm really good at forming opinions and sticking to it.
Okay, so I'm the problem. All right, so the first new release that I saw in theaters in 2026 was 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple.
I haven't seen that many zombie movies.
My mom loves zombie movies, so I've seen a lot.
Oh, that zombie had a crazy massive zombie wiener.
Sure, yeah, that is... That does factor pretty heavily. Aesthetically, it was very distinct from its predecessors. The 28 movies? I don't know, how are we supposed to refer to these as a collective? 28. They are known for their really gritty aesthetic choices. The first movie was a very early example of digital photography and was shot on just the crappiest little digital camera, and it looks horrible. But that's kind of what Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, who created this series, were going for. But The Bone Temple went in a very different direction aesthetically. This one was shot completely on cinema cameras. Gorgeous and horrible and great to look at and terrible to look at. So, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. What was that about?
Ray finds zombie hunk.
Zombie hunk?
Yeah.
The next new release, Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi. We had a blast with this.
That movie was bussin'.
Does this movie change your perspective on Dylan O'Brien or Rachel McAdams at all?
I think it definitely makes me feel like Dylan O'Brien is a lot more capable than anything else I've watched him in.
Sure. But on the flip side of that coin, Rachel McAdams surprised me immensely with this role. It's a completely different type of thing. Both the more mousy, meek, office persona that she embodies in the first portion of the movie, and then also the absolutely gonzo bananas balls to the wall version of her that we see in the second half. Completely different from anything I've seen her do before.
I think that's partially what's so impressive about the movie is because it takes one of the most beautiful women, Rachel McAdams, who just oozes charisma and charm. And in the first half of the movie, they make her feel undesirable, but not in an ugly way. It's partially because of her acting. She feels like she's lacking a self-confidence and security, and she does feel slightly unhinged.
Send Help, what was it about?
Yes, queen. Mouse squirt.
Yuck. Following after Send Help, we had a film that I think is probably going to fly under the radar entirely for the rest of the year, and that's Crime 101. Do you remember this?
Oh,
I remember
forgot it.
Enjoying it, having a good time, but I have not thought very much about it since. It's kind of a white bread sort of a thriller.
Was that the Hemsworth one?
Yes, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, Halle Berry. Barry Keoghan, weird guy in this.
He can't play a normal guy.
Yeah, this was odd. I definitely think Chris Hemsworth was a huge miscast for me in this.
It was a lot harder to be invested in his character and his motivations. Some of the the actions that he took with the relationships in his life were I feel like there might be more sympathy for them if someone else had been playing that character.
Maybe, yeah. That also I think speaks to some underlying weakness of the script. That it wasn't giving him enough scaffolding to really build that kind of performance off of it. But Crime 101, what was it about?
For gore, but it's okay. He's shirtless.
Speaking of shirtless hunks,
What?
Immediately following Crime 101 on February 13th, they shared the same release date. It was Wuthering Heights.
Ugh.
Yeah, we weren't feeling it.
No. It was just slogged down by trying too hard to be artsy and interesting to me.
I agree. And this is, I'm not even an Emerald Fennel hater. I'm more of an Emerald Fennel apologist. I liked Saltburn quite a bit.
Yeah.
But what is there in Saltburn that's missing from this?
I think Emerald Fennel works better with an original story.
I know what you mean. To a degree, this wasn't really Wuthering Heights. I'm happy to watch the sloppy, weirdo, psychosexual stuff when she's putting her own original characters through it. But something about... I can't help but feel the loss of what Wuthering Heights could have been. And I think that that resonates with a lot of audience members. People reacted to this in a very weird, polarized way. Even from the outset, from like the initial casting of Jacob Elordi, people were up in arms about it.
I think too, and it's like this could just be a me thing, but I didn't like that the soundtrack was done by Charlie XCX. I mean, I think it technically fit with the movie we got, sort of.
There was a lot of glitter on the surface, but not much underneath. Wuthering Heights, what was it about?
Oh, freaks getting freaky.
Yeah, they were really freaky freaks. Those weren't even the only two movies that released on February 13th. And this one was completely different from the other two. And this was Goat, the animated animals playing basketball movie.
And it was the best one.
Kind of was, I guess, in retrospect. And the story was very sweet. It was very uplifting. It was a good, underdog sports story.
I think the funny thing to me is, the main character is the goat, but I feel like the most interesting character is the big kitty cat.
That's true, yeah.
Both of them want to be number one and successful, but they both have such different ways of getting there, and what it means for them is so different.
And this was, kind of based on Steph Curry's real life?
Mm-hmm. And you want to know what's crazy?
What?
And then we come around to later in the year, and the Knicks go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And once again, we have a quote-unquote short king.
Oh, sure.
Win another awesome epic thing and be the best at basketball.
Good point. Jalen Brunson.
Goat is applicable to the Knicks as well.
Goat is applicable to any time that you feel like you are too small to ball. I really liked it. There were some things that we thought were... it felt like it was edited really... It was so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. But it felt like it was pre-edited for YouTube kids.
Attention span set to 0.
But Goat, what was it about?
Little guys and tough girls got it.
February 20th brought us How to Make a Killing, directed and written by John Patton Ford. This starred Glenn Powell with Margaret Qualley and Jessica Henwick. Kind of an American, dumber, easier to understand version of No Other Choice, which came out last year. And we were obsessed with No Other Choice, and that was nuts.
Yeah.
And then this came out and it kind of reheated nachos a little bit.
Which is tough, because
Yeah.
I actually think it was pretty good. It was just, unfortunately, No Other Choice was better.
It was
and
enjoyable.
it's impossible not to draw the connection comparison between the two.
It doesn't develop some of its most interesting ideas a lot of the time. It feels very breezy, the way that Glenn Powell gets through all of these murders.
I feel like there is No Other Choice absolutely has notes of seriousness, and the things that this person is doing are terrible, but the way that they're presented to us, it's like we know why he really feels like he has to do this. And I think it's partially because the motivation of that character is much more intriguing in a lot of ways.
This was a bit of a letdown for me, given the fact that John Patton Ford's movie Emily the Criminal, which came out around the pandemic, I think, had some razor wire intensity to it. Some really stirring and gripping suspense sequences that I felt like were completely missing from this work, and I missed that energy.
I mean, that being said, though, it was hilarious.
Who else was in this? Topher Grace shows up at one point, right? With frosted tips.
And Zach Woods. I think he is always hilarious and plays characters that are so easily hateable in such a great way.
Really funny. I
loved everything he was doing.
Yeah, he was great. How to Make a Killing, what was it about?
Get your bag with a body bag.
Do you remember what came out in early March? The first of 2 Pixar movies that came out this year. This is Hoppers.
Yes!
Yeah, this was really funny. This was some completely left field stuff from this studio. I had never seen a Pixar movie get this unhinged.
I liked that it was borderline eco-terrorism.
Yeah.
But it's still at the same time, it could have gone further.
It did have a bit of a reach across the aisle vibe to it.
Yeah.
That kind of angered me a little bit.
There was a little bit of we're being a little bit of a politician apologist on some of this, and it was Whoa!
But you're right, like the eco-terrorist angle stuff about it was really funny, and Dave Franco's in this. On the whole, great stuff. Hoppers, what was it about?
Give animals guns.
Sure. March 6th also saw the release of The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. Mixed bag, fun time.
I thought it rocked.
Yeah, Jessie Buckley had just won Best Actress at the Academy Awards, so I think that boosted this movie's numbers a little bit, but not many people saw it. This might be a cult classic in a few years.
I wouldn't be super surprised if people came back to it. It's tough, because I think that the idea was great, and a lot of parts of it were great, but there are some parts of the execution that just, like, I kind of hated.
Yeah.
They would go in between what was happening and then this weird Mary Shelley bit.
Yeah, it's confused in its implementation. The Bonnie and Clyde Frankenstein monster bit, that's brilliant. That, like, I want to see that movie on its own, but the cop subplot wasn't doing it for me. The like mafia guy thing wasn't working.
But Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley together were just, it was so good.
Absolutely. And I'm a huge fan of monster movies. I love the Universal stuff. I love 30s cinema in general. And so there were a lot of references in there that I thought were just delightful and unnecessary but fun. But The Bride, what was it about?
Awesome monster crime. Throw out the dissociative identity parts.
March 20th was the release of Project Hail Mary, which is definitely going to be a lot of people's, like, far and away favorite of the year. I don't know where it sits for me. Where does it sit for you?
It's high. I really, really liked it.
I think this is just the perfect Ryan Gosling vehicle. I think that this is what he, as a star, has always been capable of. The script is lovely. I think a lot of it's very, very funny and touching and sweet and smart. It had me emotionally in a chokehold, especially some of those tenser moments. I mean, you were gripping my arm like a vice halfway through.
Well, it's like this type of movie is the perfect thing for me because it has like a sweet, cute little guy creature that everyone should care about and everyone should want good things to happen to. And so when they put that little character in a perilous situation, I legitimately, when I was watching with Elliot, I leaned over and I said, I'm prepared to hate this movie.
Depending on the outcome, I am not unsusceptible to sweet, cute little guys as well. I think that was definitely a huge draw for me. So Project Hail Mary, what was it about?
I love you, Rocky.
Amaze. Immediately following on that movie skills was Ready or Not 2, Here I Come.
Crazy thing is I've never technically seen the first one. Fun fact about me, I would say up until like late high school, I would not watch horror movies because I didn't want to watch them alone. I don't particularly like the feeling of being scared, but I really liked movies and how movies were made. So I would watch, shout out, Dead Meat on YouTube makes kill counts. And so I would watch every single kill count of horror movies because he would talk about the movie and he would count the kills and he would talk about the behind the scenes of everything. And so that's how I watched, I'm putting quotes on that, Ready or Not.
Delightful. It's definitely a huge selling point of these movies. Gory, splattery, weapon stuff. It's stylized and it's fun.
So much fun. The dynamic and chemistry between Samara Weaving and Catherine Newton is so good.
It was great, and I think it speaks to their ability as actors that dynamic works so well, because I don't think on paper that relationship functions. It was pretty heavy-handed in terms of the themes that it was working with, but the actors totally made me, I mean, I was there for it. I was along for the ride. The other cast members that were added in this were so much fun. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Elijah Wood are so much fun.
I love when rich people die and are killed.
Whoa, interesting. Foreshadowing for maybe something that we're going to talk about later. Ready or Not 2, what was it about?
Just give her the damn cigarette.
March 27th, They Will Kill You. Zazie Beetz, Hotel.
Yes.
What do you think?
I wanted it to be like the trailer a lot more than the movie was.
Because the premise, I think, is solid. The premise is very solid. But what spins out of that is a little messy.
It was a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like, if someone watched Scott Pilgrim and a Tarantino and they said, what if we made this into a video game?
Yeah.
But it still has to be a movie.
Splash a little Evil Dead in there.
Yeah.
On that note, I do think that the practical effects and the gore are really fun.
I think for the stunts alone, absolutely still worth watching. There was a lot of, like, just insane stunt sequences.
But They Will Kill You, what was it about?
Zazie Feet's killer.
Ooh, that was clever. Yeah, the feet do factor a lot into that movie, don't they? April 1st, the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
What's that reaction?
I just kind of forgot
Yeah.
that it came out.
Me too, until I was putting this list together.
Yeah.
And then I went, oh, that's right, this made $1 billion. I mean, this is just a commercial for the Nintendo Switch, too.
But this movie gives some insane lore that really changes a lot of things, I feel like, in the way that people thought about some characters, i.e. that Peach is directly related to Rosalina, because there's a strong subset of shipping them together.
Uh-oh. Oh, man. It's funny. I feel like my dissatisfaction with Chris Pratt as Mario is matched by my enthusiasm over Charlie Day as Luigi.
And then it's even superseded by how awesome it is when Jack Black does anything.
Okay, sure, yeah. Well, and add to that, Donald Glover as Yoshi.
Yeah.
But the Super Mario Galaxy movie, what was it about?
Man, why has every black actor got to rap some? All I know is that Yoshi got the best one.
Cut, print, we're moving on.
I know, it's terrible.
I know that was your trial run, I know, but we're keeping it. Next up was the drama, which you missed out on, so I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody watching who
Still
hasn't
really
seen
want to see it.
I think that this is tough to beat as my favorite release so far this year.
What?
The script was so smart, and what really stood out for me here is the editing. I think that this is some of the greatest film editing I've seen in maybe the last 10 years, because the way that they're able to represent the subjective experience of the different characters through the edit, it's psychologically profound. And Zendaya is unfucking real in this movie. I maybe was discounting her, honestly, as an actress. I think that she has the capacity to be a generational talent.
Welcome to what I've known since I watched Shake It Up.
But the drama was about...
What if Challengers was real and had Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland?
Wait, this is just... You're writing fan fiction right now.
So in real life...
No, okay. Do you remember a little movie called You, Me, and Tuscany?
I do.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
This felt like a throwback to a type of movie that we don't see.
I feel like it feels like a step up from Hallmark.
Really?
To me, it did.
Yeah? So you don't want to see more stuff like this in the theater?
No, I want to see...
You want to see better stuff?
I want to see, like, the same vein, but better.
Okay, yeah.
Because this one felt like, to me, a movie that I could find on Netflix.
Okay.
Which is not always bad. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
good movies come out on Netflix. But more often than not, they're not super good movies. And I don't think that this one was, like, bad. I just feel like there was something missing for me that, like, the classic... really good rom-coms in the like early 2000s, mid 2000s
Sure.
had.
Well, yeah, I don't think that this comes close to being a classic rom. This is not a Harry Met Sally. This is not a You've Got Mail. But you know what I think it is like a 2 weeks notice. Have you ever seen that movie? Sandra Bullock and Hugh Grant and like it's a kind of crappy rom-com that had a wide theatrical release.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm
Like The
mourning
Proposal?
here. Sure, yeah, or like The Proposal.
It's gotta be a
like,
Sandra Bullock one for me to get.
Okay. But, you know, like, I mourn the loss of the bad movies that are dumped on Netflix now. You're right. But that used to get wide releases and that we could go and experience in the theater. I think that that's what's being lost here. So I agree. It wasn't that good. Mm-hmm. But I do want to see more stuff naked.
That's true. I've come around on that. I mean, I'm not mad at all that it came out in the theater and I had a good time. It's just, I think it was like almost frustrating because it was so close to being really good.
Yeah, well, okay, so on that note, what would graduate this in your eyes to a more classic status?
I felt like it was missing a lot of the rom. I felt like there could have been more romance that was comedic.
Okay.
I think that there was a lot of focus on her story as a person, which is not
No,
bad.
I think I agree.
What I really would have loved is for the original Italian that she's pretending to be married to actually come around more than he kind of like pseudo did, but then he didn't actually commit to it.
Yeah.
I feel like if the movie had kind of committed to it more and made me believe that, oh, maybe there's actually something there and it's actually going to be a real obstacle for our main characters to figure out they actually like each other.
Yeah.
It would have been better to me because it would have felt more like there's a romance and a drama to it and more of a reason for either of them to win each other back.
And you
or
know,
something.
it happens for a tiny bit, for a little tiny bit. And I think that the problem, if you restructure it, it becomes different. Because if you put that at the midpoint, if that becomes the midpoint of the movie, because instead what it is it's this like crisis that happens at the end of Act 2 that forces the stakes in Act 3. And yeah, that's interesting and it functions, but if you move that guy coming back into the story to the middle, just the very middle of the movie, and then there's that push and pull, and it's a full-on triangle for a little bit. It might have been a little more corny, but way more fun.
And I think that's the big thing to me is corny is not bad. You're making a rom-com.
Yeah.
The reason
that's
that...
what we want.
Yes!
Yeah. Do you think Roger Jean Page needed to be shirtless more often? Or?
I think he should have been slightly dorkier.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah. I think he's too hunkalicious.
You, Me, and Tuscany. What was it about?
Get more corny, get more horny.
You're on fire. All right. April 24th. This is one you missed out on, but Michael. Yeah, I...
Changed your life.
No, alright. There's this running joke for some fucking reason that I am a Michael Jackson superfan. I like Michael Jackson's music.
Makes him go crazy.
No, I do not go crazy for Michael Jackson. And this movie, I think, was a problem. I think this movie is a problem. I think that it is emblematic of a thing that is happening that I just disagree with. And that is, for some reason, these huge biopic, musical artist genre movies becoming like vehicles for a starring young actor to try to win an Oscar, and nothing else happens.
Did you ever see Baz Luhrmann Elvis?
I didn't. I missed Baz Luhrmann Elvis.
I didn't see Michael. I saw Baz Luhrmann Elvis.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot, but I do wonder if it's very similar.
Sure.
To be fair, Austin Butler's not like a young nobody actor. He was doing stuff before then. But in a lot of ways, I mean, he hadn't...
It made him, Dune-worthy.
Yeah.
And that's something. I definitely think, I mean, what everyone was talking about after Baz Luhrmann Elvis was Austin Butler became Elvis. Whoa, that's crazy. And all anyone was talking about after Michael is, wow, Jafar Jackson really became Michael. So it's just the same thing again. And it's the same thing that we saw happen with Rami Malek and Bohemian Rhapsody. Everyone was just talking about, wow, he became him. And that's, I just think... Like, you gotta give me more movie. I mean, really what this is I sat down in a darkened movie theater, huge screen, had my popcorn, and someone pressed play on a YouTube playlist of Michael Jackson music videos. That's really all that happened. Michael, what was it about?
The Michaelist Jackson.
Following on from Michael, we had The Devil Wears Prada 2, which we both very much enjoyed. I thought that this was a welcome surprise.
I was a little bit, scared when it was coming out, because I was like, oh, man. Not another sequel.
Is that primarily what you were scared of? Because a lot of people were worried about the aesthetic choices that were on display in the trailer.
I think people are sometimes dumb.
The internet loves to point out problems and try to diagnose them, even when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it's fair, I think, to say that audiences are capable of recognizing problems, but they're very, very bad at diagnosing, solutions or saying why something is that way.
I think a lot of because the discourse on the internet was like, the lighting looks awful. Yeah. I don't know. It's a trailer.
And it goes deeper than the lighting. It's an aesthetic change that we're seeing in media, from everything from photography to cinema, and it's the millennial beige effect.
Yeah, and I partially think that for The Devil Wears Prada 2 and what it's talking about, it makes sense in a lot of ways. It goes along with what the movie is touching on.
That's a good segue, because I think what we came away from this thinking was that they took an opportunity here. They had a property that they could have just done the whole, keys jingling in your face, look at this cool thing that you liked from 20 years ago. But instead, they kind of followed in the first one's footsteps in terms of the satire of the thing. The first one is this critique of fashion journalism, and the second one becomes kind of a critique of the way that ad space has co-opted journalistic integrity.
I love any movie that thinks that AI and tech startups and people who run those are bad.
Devil Wears Prada 2, what was it about?
Stanley Tucci, I love you. You can always play gay.
Here's a movie that I didn't get to see, but that you saw. This is The Sheep Detective.
Yeah.
Again, I've heard this tops the lists for a lot of people.
So heartfelt and gorgeous and beautiful, and some of the best combination between animation, CGI, and live action. I went into it being like, this is can be so fun and heartwarming and gorgeous, and it was. And then it was soul crushing and so emotional and heartfelt and just a tearjerker. It touches on some extremely dark things for what I would assume is a children's movie.
Okay, well, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I think that you and I both share the opinion that children's movies should aim to, at least in some respects, frighten children, because I think that confronting them with darker subject matter is necessary. It's a necessary part of growing up, and movies are one of the safest and most important ways that you can do that as a very young person. And so do you think that this is a good... sure, it's a good movie, but is it a good kids movie?
I think it absolutely could be, because I think the great thing about having these sheep be characters is that they are operating at a level of intelligence that's closer to a child they're still very intelligent, but the way they navigate the world is naive. And so in a lot of ways, when they're learning about these things, it's a good kind of foil for children. And the level at which they're learning about it and beginning to understand them, I think, could be in the same sort of realm that kids would begin to understand some of these things and how they might approach when heavy topics become part of their lives.
I love that. What was it about, though?
The people that we love live on in us and in the clouds.
Oh. Next up is Obsession, which we just cannot talk too much about because we're going to end up going completely off the rails and it's going to take over the rest of the episode.
You gotta save an entire episode for that.
I think I'm going to have to at some point, but I definitely need the distance because recency bias is a very real thing, and oh my god, like everybody's talking about this movie like it's gonna sweep at the Academy Awards, and I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But man, this is a fucking movie, this blew me away. What does the response to this movie say about audiences?
That's tough. I think the fun thing about you and me seeing movies is also what we see after we see the movie. Like, my social media and the way people are talking about movies is a lot different than the social media that you engage with and talk about movies.
Sure, we get the best of both worlds.
I like to follow a lot of the people who have bad takes and say stupid things. Like the people who are like Bear apologists to a level.
Interesting.
Of being like, well, yeah, sure, Bear's the bad guy, but so is everyone else also in the movie. And it's like, it's so interesting to me how much this movie has given people to talk about in terms of like who has to be at fault. And like I think this is true of a lot of viewers in movies where it's like they kind of need bad guys and good guys and places where they can apply right and wrong.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time where you get movies where it's like that's not the intention, that's not true.
I think you're right. That is one of the aspects of the movie that I came away really, really admiring is its nuanced morality and its dedication to that nuanced morality. It doesn't cut any corners for the sake of making the audience more comfortable, and I think it's really able to do that and be commercially successful because it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
No other genre can do that, and horror is, for better or for worse, the secret backbone of the entertainment industry. When there is a seismic shift in the landscape of Hollywood, it happens in the horror genre. I just felt like I was, not to get biblical, but I felt like I was like bearing witness to something extraordinary happening, sitting in a packed movie theater watching that. Because in our town, people don't show up for the movies all that often, you know? I hadn't seen a house that packed since 2019.
You want to know what's crazy? The next movie that I went to that was like that was Talladega Nights. Wow. I think something that this movie also shows that has been seen in movies before is the fact that comedy writers can be very, very good horror writers, because I think comedy and horror share a lot of similarities in the way that they're successful. They have a similar kind of like setup and payoff. It can't just be like hitting someone over and over again with jokes or hitting someone over and over again with jump scares.
Jordan Peele has talked at length about that. You're 1,000% right. It's all about like the build up and then the release. And to take that point even further, I think that something that I don't really see too many people talking about is the fact that Obsession is also very funny.
Yes. Yeah.
People were laughing in the theater, and I didn't feel like... I almost feel like how funny the movie is meant to disarm us. Because a lot of the time, people will watch a scary movie and go, I didn't even find it that scary. I thought I laughed, you know? But with Obsession, it wants you to laugh.
There were multiple moments, like, when watching the movie that I fully, like, something funny did technically happen, but I was like, I was still so stuck in the insane fucked up thing that happened before that there was a moment of, like, how is the audience laughing right now?
Yeah, how have we moved on? What's going on?
Yes, yeah, we technically saw something funny, but, like, 2 scenes ago, we saw the most fucked up thing anyone's ever seen.
Yeah. What was Obsession about?
No.
On May 22nd, we saw another entry in your favorite subgenre, There's a Cute Little Guy, The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah!
And it was a good time.
I mean, it's one of those movies where it's like, you can't go in expecting, like, this is going to be the next greatest Star Wars hit, because that's not what the movie is.
We've passed that era, and I do feel like we've lost something there, but yeah, I don't know. On the one hand, it's like, I enjoy the almost entry-level type of Star Wars that's happening here, where, like, I feel like I could take anybody to go see this movie, and they'd have a good time. But on the other hand, like, this is what Star Wars has become, and that's like this institution. And I think it's interesting that this came out the same like month as Obsession, because Obsession outperformed it, and so we as a culture have moved in a different direction for like, it's Star Wars, you know, it should be.
Yeah, but at the same time it's like, it's not Star Wars.
Yeah, but I liked a lot of what was going on. I like all of the weird guys. I'm such a huge fan of the alien
Babu
designs.
freaks.
Yeah, those little guys rock. The puppetry is beautiful.
The best and most greatest part of this movie was basically silent, and it was just Grogu as the smallest little thing you've seen, going through the world and having to be the adult for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, you know, something has happened. And it's so sweet, and it made me so emotional. Because you cannot help but feel maternal to Grogu.
Sure. They draw a lot of authentic feeling emotion out of that puppet. It's beautiful, beautiful work.
And I think just puppets should be used in everything when you're making a little guy.
This is true.
I think puppets are so powerful.
But what was it about?
I wish Grogu was real.
Yeah, me too. I love Boosters. Boots Riley.
Yeah.
This was another promising premise that got lost in its own sauce.
This was maybe one of my biggest disappointments this year.
Really?
I was so excited for the trailer. Oh my god. I saw every single time I saw the trailer, whoever I was in the movie theater with, I was like, I cannot wait to see this. This is going to be so awesome. And then we saw the movie and I was like, damn.
Yeah. I felt like it was promising for maybe the first 30 to 40 minutes. I was along for the ride, and then I realized that we were in the middle of the film, and it still felt like it was starting stuff, and I realized that there just wasn't going to be enough runtime to develop all of the ideas to a fruitful type of fruition. And I mean, I love the aesthetic choices. I love the costuming. I love Keke Palmer. I love the humor. I love the weird fucking music. Lakeith Steinfeld is hilarious. His character's so fucking weird. And it's not that I'm not here for the surreal shit. I'm a huge fan of that, but it definitely felt like, particularly once that MacGuffin was introduced. They've got this machine that does these insane things, and there's this explanation for it that didn't fully make sense for me. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like if they had maybe taken out 4 other weird aspects, it would not have felt that way. It would have felt maybe a little bit more like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
But what was it about?
You know what? Crazy Freaky Demon should have had more fashion.
May 29th, I saw Backrooms. You missed out on Backrooms, didn't you?
Yeah.
You have no interest in the...
Not particularly. I think I'm really interested in, like, the guy who made it.
Yeah.
Gary Parsons is a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to hear about, like, basically, I mean, the culture of Backrooms and the background on just what all of that means. It's just not a subject matter. I would definitely, like, if it was on, I'd watch it.
This surprised me with the quality, honestly, because I went into it expecting much more of a like quote-unquote lore dump, sort of an internet-focused audience, but it actually had some stuff to say. I mean, it's difficult to divorce the idea of the back rooms in an internet fashion from, like, you know, the Five Nights at Freddy's and the, like, PNG of Kanye West's face chasing you around. This became something really, really interesting, and it's a genuinely fascinating sci-fi concept. I'm interested to see if anything else happens from this. But what was it about, though? Backroom. He in there. Alright, June 5th. Scary movie. Do we need to talk about it?
I mean, Scary Movie is just one of those movies where it's like, you know that this is gonna be bad, but you're here for it.
It's just Scary Movie. I mean, it was exactly what I thought it was gonna be.
It is still stuck with the generation that came before us.
But, like, what was Scary Movie about?
Can't believe they did that to Kai Cenat.
June 12th, Disclosure Day. Everyone has mixed opinions on this one. I think that if you are a fan of Steven Spielberg and you're interested in, like, just continuing to keep up with what he's trying to say as an artist, it's very valuable. It is a very, very valuable motion picture. I stayed until the end of the credits because I just don't know how many more times I'm going to get to hear an original John Williams score, and so I just wanted to stay and listen to the music. It's a messy movie. It's weird. It's confusing. Anyway, what do you think it was about, having not seen it?
Emily Botox.
And now I'm actually going to hand the mic directly over to you to talk about a movie I didn't see, which was Toy Story 5.
This movie was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I first heard they were doing another Toy Story movie, I was like, oh gosh.
I know.
We're going to do this again.
Yeah.
Toy Story 4 was so completely unnecessary. I mean, they wrapped it up so well with Toy Story 3, and then they made Toy Story 4, and it was just kind of like, it wasn't bad, because, like, Pixar doesn't exactly do, like, bad.
Sure.
You know, I mean, Toy Story 4 is a fine movie.
It wasn't an embarrassment for them.
Exactly.
But yeah, it did feel unnecessary, I think is the word.
But then I find myself now being like, thank God Toy Story 4 was made because we got Toy Story 5.
That's so interesting.
I know. And I guess good context for my opinion of the movie is that I am a teacher, and so I work with a lot of really young kids, and it is something that, like, technology is becoming more and more present in all of our lives, but especially for children, in a way that some parents don't exactly know how to traverse because it's not something that they grew up with in the same way that they have it now. I mean, even our generation, we had technology growing up, but our kids our age aren't really going to be truly iPad kids.
Yeah.
I mean, even just a couple years after us is when it started to really pick up. And I think that this movie does such a good job at presenting this kind of like problem, but also showing that nothing is entirely evil. And that in the place we are now, these things do have a place in our lives in some capacity. The movie shows this message in the different perspectives, important for both like children and parents to show kind of how it can affect your lives, and there are some positives, but also the things that can go wrong and negatively impact how children move through the world and what they're learning and what they're exposed to.
It's important that there is a gray area there because, I mean, like you pointed out, all of the digital landscape evolved so quickly and it's still evolving and it's still changing, and with the AI proliferating every single corner of the internet, it's it could look vastly different 5 years from now from how it does right now. And so I think a lot of the time with the types of stories that we have to tell right now, we got to document, you know, but it's difficult to future-proof any type of morals grandstanding. That's a major problem that I'm running into as an artist, is like I want to feel like I have something to say about it, but I know that I might be wrong eventually, you know, I might be proven wrong, and I got to be okay with that. So living in that gray area, it's difficult, but it's so valuable.
Yeah, I think that people might have a very different opinion than I do about it, because I don't think that the movie takes like one stance, like you're saying, and I think that is partially what makes it so good. But I feel like it's also like, in the way that it does this, it feels very Toy Story. All the movies are about the role of play and imagination and toys in our lives. And that's what this movie brings to us, is like, what does technology mean for imagination and play and coming together and belonging, which I think it fits in with the other things talked about by Toy Story really well.
I'm nonplussed. What was it about, though?
Drones are your friends.
We're nearing the end of the films that we've seen so far this year. There's 2 more movies left to talk about, and we watched them both in the last week, actually. So the first one to talk about is Supergirl. This was a fun time. This was a very fun time, and I think that people are reacting very, very interestingly to this movie.
I think men are dumb.
Well, this much is true. This much has always been true.
I just think that the fact that, like, when we left the movie theater, Elliot and I saw it with my parents, and my mom and I both went, that rocked, and we liked it. Says a lot about the type of movie that it is, that we were able to get more out of it than I think you and my dad were. Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, it's not for a male audience. Like, thinking about Marvel movies that heavily feature women, this one to me is in many regards so much better because it really truly lacks the hypersexualization. That's true. That I feel like was so much more present, even in Wonder Woman. Yeah. And I do think that a lot of criticism that's being levied against this movie unfairly right now is in terms of its story content, which is not, I don't think that's where the problems lie. Personally, the issues I have with the movie are in the editing, primarily. I think it was terribly edited. And I think that a lot of the story problems that do exist could have been greatly, greatly mitigated with a better edit. And it feels like 20 minutes of this got, like, excised just before release, and I don't know why. Yeah. No, I would agree. I think the problems that I have with it don't lie as much with, like, any of the acting or the characters. I think all of that was the shining, saving grace of the movie. I think there were certain things aesthetically that could be argued to be improved, absolutely, and I do think that you're correct in, like, editing, and I think certain directing choices. Yeah. The onslaught, the deluge of bad faith criticism it's so disappointing. Truly, don't feel bad at all saying this. If I see a man rating this movie less than 3 stars, hate in his heart, vile guy. Supergirl, what was it about? Space goddess kills space pedophiles. As it should be. July 1st, Minions and Monsters. Perfect movie, actually. Earlier when I said that every movie should be criticized, I was lying. This one's immune? This one's perfect. Yeah. Pero, papi, banana, saraka, estupa. What was it about? Minions make it happen.
So we missed out on a couple releases that we won't go into too much detail on because there's not much to say since
You get one
we didn't
sentence.
get to see them. I get one sentence apiece per movie? Okay. Mercy. I don't really think anybody saw this movie. I think this is a fake movie that didn't exist. Iron Lung. Wish I'd seen it. I genuinely wish I had, just for the sake of the moment. Speaking of the moment, starring Charlie XCX, came out the same day as Iron Lung. Weird A24 movie.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, it's a like semi-autobiographical satire. I don't know.
Does she act?
Now she does.
Oh.
Yeah. Reminders of Him. We got so many ads for this movie. Ugh. Yeah. I don't know.
Is that one Colleen Hoover?
Yeah. She co-penned the screenplay, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Forbidden Fruits. I kind of did want to see this. I have heard that this is kind of achieving cult classic status now.
I would go back and watch this.
Yeah?
It looked interesting. I did it first, I hate to say this, I did it first think it was an Elf original movie.
Like the
makeup brand?
Oh.
When I first saw the trailer, because Elf had made a mystery Hallmark type movie, and I was like, oh, they're doing another one, and they went, ooh, never mind, that's a real movie, and I think that was just a trailer problem.
That's funny. Another movie that came out around the same time that it seems like it was engineered to be a cult classic, and I think that might be to its detriment, is Pizza Movie. This was the Gaten Matarazzo movie that came out in early April.
I've heard rave reviews from one person, Darcy.
I have heard it's supposedly very, very good, but it definitely feels like it's trying to be I haven't seen it, so
like
this
a stoner
is maybe unfair.
classic.
Yeah, and I feel like culturally there's where do those sit now? Yeah, I guess we have to see it. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. You were desperate to skip that one.
Certain supernatural horror things, I'm just
It was
I'll watch Saw any day, but I don't need to see The Conjuring.
Oh, sure. I just felt like it didn't look all that scary. It was it looked like The Boy. You know the movie The Boy? Here, watch my puppet son.
Yeah.
You know? It's something's wrong with the little girl.
But the puppet son sounds much more entertaining to me than
it does. Well, in a camp
scary
way.
kidnapped kid come back. She got the mommy's good.
True.
Yeah.
There's a David Lowery film called Mother Mary. It starred Anne Hathaway. This looked interesting.
I saw a trailer.
Yeah, it kind of flopped, I think. I don't know. I would be interested to revisit it. I liked Lowery's The Green Knight, which... Have you seen The Green Knight?
No, it looked really good, though.
It is very, very good.
And hey, Anne Hathaway's in every movie this year, so good for her.
Yeah, she's got 8 projects. Mortal Kombat 2.
I really did want to see this one, actually.
That could have been fun. And then I missed out on Masters of the Universe. Heard it's Jared Leto's best role since Dallas Buyers Club.
Okay, well, I did really want to see it, but mostly because the guy who plays He-Man, Nick Galitzine, he was great in Sheep Detectives.
Oh, interesting.
And he was really good in the other Anne Hathaway movie where he's boy band guy
what is that
and
movie
she's
called?
mama.
We did watch this.
And it was good.
Oh,
I don't remember the name of that movie.
Something like
About You.
Yeah, Forgetting You.
No,
or
that's
All About You.
Something like
You
that.
and Me.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It was surprisingly good though.
Yeah, it was a charmer.
But all that being said, I think that he's coming up my list of I'll go see a movie if you're in it. He's
Rising
getting
star?
up there. Yeah.
Well, so that's perfect because the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which stars do you think are at the forefront of Hollywood this year? We mentioned Anne Hathaway has a billion movies.
The funny thing is I feel like Anne Hathaway is kind of in everything, but I feel like it's not super obvious that she's in everything right now.
Robert Pattinson's having a huge year too. He's got a bunch of movies coming out between the drama, Dune Part 3. He's got that primetime movie where he's Chris Hansen.
Forgot he's in Dune Part 3.
Yeah.
I do think it also spikes as things come closer.
That's true.
I feel like right now, I am feeling it a little bit more for Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Obviously, because Odyssey is coming out soon.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling it big for Tom Holland because Spider-Man and the Odyssey are coming
That's going to be nuts.
But it's also Tom Holland hasn't left the forefront since the first Spider-Man movie.
You're right, which is nuts because he's had a huge break. There have been multiple years without a Tom Holland movie at this point.
And you know what? Same with Zendaya. She's not going anywhere. I love Zendaya.
But Zendaya, I think, is having potentially the year of her career because it's the drama, it's Spider-Man, it's the Odyssey, and it's Dune Part 3. She's in all 4 of those.
She's in the Odyssey.
Yeah, that is going to be a nuts year for her.
I think Jacob Elordi has also obviously been someone who everybody has been focusing on, but I think he's been falling off a little bit this year, and I think it's because of Wuthering Heights.
Interesting.
At least, I think for the subset of people who are similar to me. And also, I think Euphoria actually finally having its finale, or at least I think it's its series finale. Once again, Zendaya, but Jacob Elordi as well. People are like, I mean, they're liking it, but at the same time, everyone's kind of like, we're surprised we even got this because seems like none of them want to come back or be here.
My theory about Jacob Elordi, and I can't really take credit for this because it's kind of in the tabloids, but he's kind of up for Bond, and I think that he might be laying low. He might be taking a bit of an off career just to have a chance at that.
He's too tall.
He is too tall. Similarly, are there any themes that are coming up over and over again in these movies? We mentioned Eat the Rich.
And yet at the same time, it's in some ways I feel like movies are saying things that I feel like should be more impactful than they are, but I think people are treating movies more as movies than they are statements of things to believe in the world.
I get what you mean. Cinema doesn't occupy the same space culturally that it did when we were growing up.
Yeah.
In terms of it being the premier art form. I don't know what the premier art form is right now.
I do.
TikTok? What is it?
Vertical dramas.
Never in a million years. But, cinema superseded the novel. The novel was the premier art form, the premier narrative art form for hundreds of years. And then we had cinema.
And now I do feel like there's this weird, there's nothing strongly coming to the forefront. It's because there's too many options and we're all a little disconnected.
Well, and I think the thing is, too, I don't think that something else is going to happen. I think that cinema is still incredibly young as an art form. It's 100 years old. So it's just going to evolve. It's going to change. And so we are in a very, very odd period right now where you're right, the audience isn't engaging with the art in the way that the artists are trying to get the audience to engage with the art. There's a weird disconnect, and the media literacy problem is at the forefront. But
I guess at the same time, I wouldn't blanket statement that no one is.
I
feel like there's a lot of people who are deeply affected by movies.
Yeah. And
that's what's so important of we're creating good movies. We still need to do that because the people who are deeply affected are. And I feel like what has changed is the way that media talks about movies.
Yeah.
And that's the real problem, is that it's harder for us as people to find and reach each other.
Yeah.
Because of the obstacles that are put in the way by people who want to control the narrative of movies.
Yeah, and the nature of the internet sows discourse to a negative effect much more than it breeds understanding. But what do we feel like audiences are responding to then? Because I think that the upheaval in the box office surrounding Obsession and Backrooms and Iron Lung, these grassroots sort of indie filmmakers coming out of the woodwork, joining their cohort of their peers and taking the industry by storm is enormous. It has the potential to change everything.
Yeah, people want to see movies created by people that they feel some sort of connection to. I feel like the great thing about these smaller indie projects is that a lot of them are also being made by people who have a following and a personality for something else.
That's true.
And their audience is able to feel connected to them. And it's not just the pull of their audience, but it's the fact that they're actually making good art.
Yeah, or even I wouldn't say that Kane Parsons has a cult of personality about him.
No.
I think that I'm not saying you're saying that. I think that that's what Hollywood might see from some of Curry Barker. If the studios want to learn the wrong lesson from this, they could give the keys to the kingdom to some star that came up
Mr.
on...
Beast.
Sure, they could give it to Mr. Beast and say, here, make a movie because you haven't a pre-existing audience. But the thing with Kane Parsons is that his audience knew what kind of art he was making. His short films on YouTube are really, really great. They are artistically fascinating little works of art. And so he had an audience for that. And I think you're right. There is an element of trust there with the audience.
Well, because I think that's kind of the clarification. Is these aren't influencers.
Yeah.
They're people who have genuinely created an audience because of the thing they're passionate about.
You're
and
right.
I think that's what's so important, is allowing people who care to make movies.
Yeah. More people who care. Death to the nonchalant.
Ugh. Nonchalant's dumb. Caring's the most important thing you can do.
It really is. So let's just run down the list of upcoming releases that are really at the forefront of what I'm excited about, what you're excited about. and chat a little bit about what is to come in the second half of the year. First up, we've got The Invite, directed by Olivia Wilde. This is the Seth Rogen, Olivia Wilde movie with Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton, and I think it's just them four.
Yep.
It looks really good.
It looks really interesting. My main exposure to Olivia Wilde was the Florence Pugh.
Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes, thank you. I know her just kind of from that role and her performance in that, which was not super impactful to me.
Her performance isn't all that. It's not. I mean, she directed that movie, which is.
Wait, she did?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
That's really. I mean, that's why she's in it. It is. That one's a mixed bag.
Because I liked a lot of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of what I liked was Florence Pugh.
I think the difference here is that this script seems to be really, really strong, and the festival response to this was out of this world. All right, live action Moana.
I'm probably gonna see it.
Yeah.
If I have Regal Unlimited, I can see a movie for free. I'll see live action Moana.
This is true.
The Rock's gonna have hair.
Yeah, that is curious.
I gotta go just for The Rock to have hair.
I'm a huge fan of the Evil Dead movies. Evil Dead Burn is going to be nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That looks really promising. I've loved what they've done with the previous reboot movies in that series. And then, of course, we've already talked a bit about this one, The Odyssey, coming out on July 17th. What do you and I have to offer as drops in the ocean of discourse around this?
Everybody talking about Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's definitely... I think the trailer's done a great job of hiding who's in it.
True.
And so I'm a little nervous that when I go to see it, I'm going to go, that's the celebrity I know.
Yeah.
But that's like...
The cast is unbelievable.
That's that's like a me problem, quote unquote. Well, I mean, it's like, fortunately, I think a lot of the celebrities that are in it are good actors.
Agreed.
So they're probably not going to be super obvious, and I'll be able to forget about that it's them.
Have you heard about Coyote versus Acme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been telling people because you told me.
It comes out August 28th. This was going to go the way of Batgirl. It was going to get deleted for the sake of a tax break.
Stupid.
On behalf of Warner Brothers, but it's been saved, and it's getting a wide theatrical release. August 28th. Mark your calendars, buy your tickets.
Which is some of the greatest marketing for this movie.
Yeah, true.
Because this movie is about a small guy going up against a corporation.
Yeah.
Hey, and also, I love Will Forte. I love him so much.
Yeah. You and I both really enjoyed Bullet Train, and we both really enjoyed The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
David Leitch's new movie, How to Rob a Bank, comes out September 4th. This stars Nicholas Hoult, who we also love, as a bank robber.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for this?
I have, yes.
He like live streams his bank robberies and gives people instructions on how to rob banks. I think that this could potentially, it comes down to how they represent the internet. Because if it's like one of those movies where they go, we have 100,000 hits, it's going to be cringe. Yeah. But the social commentary is totally there.
Yeah.
The star power, totally there. The gonzo balls to the wall action with David Leitch directing it could totally be there. Yeah. I think this could be a really great movie.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. When I first saw the trailer, I mean, it looked totally good, but there was a part of me that was kind of like, those are like Fortnite skins.
That's true. Yeah, it does have a bit of a, remember Free Guy?
Yes!
It has a Free Guy energy about it.
A little bit, but better.
Agreed. What are your thoughts on Forgotten Island?
Mixed. I think I saw the first teaser, and I was not super into it. Yeah. And then I saw a full trailer, and I was more hopeful.
Okay. The art style looks cool.
Colorful and fun.
Yeah.
And I saw K-pop Demon Hunters, you did not.
True.
And I thought K-pop Demon Hunters was fun, but in a lot of ways not totally worth the hype. I think culturally, absolutely, from like a representation perspective, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That it got so big. And it's really sweet to see all the kids like singing the music and knowing all the songs and all that. I like that aspect of it. I like when kids get a movie and they really like a movie. But I could see this.
You think it's trying to capture the same audience?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that there's a sharp divide between like 3D animation styles pre and post Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
We are living in a post Into the Spider-Verse world.
Yeah, exactly. This and throwback, Mitchells vs. Machines. It reminds me a little bit of that too. A
movie I'm very much looking forward to that I know that you probably couldn't give two shits about, Digger, starring Tom Cruise. Written and directed by Alejandro Inarritu. Yeah, this, I mean, I'm fascinated. I think that it definitely marks a shift in Cruise's career. He's pairing up with the director that did Birdman for Michael Keaton and did The Revenant for Leonardo DiCaprio.
Cool. The old Unk director.
Sure.
Except that you're old and get off the action pot.
The Social Reckoning might be a train wreck.
The second Facebook one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy Strong takes over the Mark Zuckerberg role for Jesse Eisenberg. It's being directed by Aaron Sorkin, who wrote the screenplay and was the screenwriter for the original Social Network that was directed by David Fincher. And that may be where this thing falls apart, because I don't think that the Social Network works as a movie without David Fincher directing it. And the Social Reckoning has really, really big shoes to fill there. Okay, so here's the weird fucking thing that's going on here. David Fincher can't direct the Social Reckoning because he's too busy directing the Cliff Booth movie, which is the sequel to Quentin Tarantino's movie,
What?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which Quentin Tarantino can't direct because he's too busy fucking, I don't know, pretending that he's ever going to put out another film.
I thought he was done.
He wants to make 10 movies, and he's screwing up the Social Reckoning for me. Do you realize that Taika Waititi has a new movie coming out this year? Clara and the Sun stars Jenna Ortega and Amy Adams. Jenna Ortega is a robot that is purchased by a family to, help with grief, I think. It's been a while since Taika was in his bag. Jojo Rabbit, I think, was the last truly, great thing that he did.
Yeah.
I want to see him reclaim his potential, because when he is on, he's on. Wild Horse 9, directed and written by Martin McDonagh, stars Sam Rockwell, John Malkovich. They're on Easter Island.
Yep.
This looks
fantastic. I forgot that was the name of that. I've seen that trailer so many times. I keep being like, that's it's a crazy old guy movie.
Yeah, a curious name, and not nearly as recognizable or memorable as Martin McDonagh's last two movies, The Banshees of Inisherin and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Right.
Both of which have incredibly evocative names. Wild Horse 9, I don't know that it's doing it for me.
Wild Horse 9 sounds like a Star Fox game.
That's funny. You know what had a huge marketing push and then disappeared, and is probably going to come back in the next month or two? Cat in the Hat.
Nope. There was a new trailer.
Really?
On Toy Story.
Do you get more Bill Hader?
Yes.
We don't need to go into too much detail on this one, but do you realize that Violent Night 2 is happening?
What?
Yeah.
My dad loved that movie.
It's a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
David Harbour's back as Santa, and
Awesome.
Guess who's Mrs. Claus?
Who?
Kristen Bell. Yep.
I like that.
Looks like it's going to be really
I
fun.
hope she hits someone.
Yeah. And then, is Doomsday happening or what? Are we double featuring this?
Man, are they really going to do that?
I don't know.
The problem is they have the same audience.
Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Barbie and Oppenheimer worked because that took two demographics that would not have seen the other's movie. It made it so I was like, yeah, I'll go see Oppenheimer in IMAX and then go see Barbie in the same day.
It's textbook parallel programming. I mean, if we look back at half of the things that released this year, we had Project Hail Mary and Ready or Not 2 release on the same exact day. And those are completely different genres. They cater to different audiences. I think they missed the boat here on what made those types of things work in the first place.
The reason it also doesn't work is because the studios can't create this. Studios can't try and do this. It has to be something that people who are going to see the movies want to do and see and feel.
This is true.
And studios, I mean, hell, if they're really good at marketing, yes, they can secret create it organically. But they're not that good.
To a certain degree, even if they, light the spark, it still has to catch. And the people are going to carry it. Mm-hmm. That being said, I mean, both of these are going to make $1 billion.
Yeah. And for me personally, which one would I see first? Probably Doomsday.
Really?
Yeah, and then Dune.
I may be in the same boat. Yeah, save the best for last. It's
That's why
I don't want to spoil my dinner.
That's why we did Oppenheimer and then Barbie.
Wait, what? Okay, and then finally on Christmas Day, this is a perfect example of parallel programming because we have Werewolf, directed by Robert Eggers. Same type of vibe as Nosferatu and The Witch. We're going full Middle English. It looks like it's going to be fantastic. And in the very same minute, Jumanji Open World.
Oh my god. There's another Jumanji movie?
Why didn't you react that way for the Robert Eggers
I don't care. Okay, and this is probably, to some people, horrible to admit. I've not seen the original Jumanji.
The one with Robin Williams?
No. And I don't think I care too much.
What the hell?
That's how much I love the new Jumanji.
But the new one has Kevin Hart, and the first one has Robin Williams.
I'm so sorry, but that's how good the new Jumanji movies are, is I can forgive that it has Kevin Hart.
Wow. But are you looking forward to going to the movies again with me?
Yeah, I think I could be down for that.
Yeah. We're only halfway through. It feels like we've already seen like a billion movies.
That's insane. Okay, so we've seen 30 movies in the past 6 months?
I guess.
I guess 5 months.
And those are just the new releases. Yeah, we really do watch a lot of movies, don't we?
And you know what? I think we could watch more.
That's true.
I think we're not even living up to our full potential.
Thanks so much for being here. Feel free to rate the show wherever you're listening. You can watch video versions of the podcast, as well as find clips from the movies we've talked about today on my social media and YouTube pages. Just visit whatwasthatAboutpodcast.com. From there, you can follow me wherever you like. Instagram, Letterboxd, you name it.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
Come on now.
Come on now, shit!